Hello, William Chandler here. I'm just talking. You know how it is, I guess. No, actually, I'm not just talking. Today I'm here actually to talk about politics. What it means to actually give your vote, what it means to, you know, be part of the system, be part of everything that it is that we do, electing this person, prime minister, president, chancellor, whatever it is, you know. So, when I'm talking about politics, I'm talking in terms of democracy, not just prime ministers and presidents, but I'm talking about trade union leaders, shop stewards, whoever you are, who's elected, and people who are in positions where you can elect others. That's what I'm talking about. Like the mic. Yeah, I thought I would add it to the video today. Uh, you know, wearing black. This is kind of goldish, goldenish. Yeah. Anyways, back on topic. So, election is in the air. Is in the air in America, the United States of America. It was in the air in Canada some months ago. It's in the air in the Caribbean. Trinidad and Tobago had an election. I like to say Trinidad and Tobago because people forget that it's Trinidad and Tobago. Don't mind that. At some point in time in the past, it could have been Barbados and Tobago or something like that. Anyways, moving on. Trinidad and Tobago had an election. Barbados will have an election sometime soon, it's projected. Jamaica had an election. There are a few elections in the Caribbean last year. Some of them were a bit comical in terms of the turnout. In terms of how things went, couldn't find this person. Where is this some official from the electoral office? What does his email address say? Does it say that he's some boss for some political party? Does it not say this? All these different rumors going around. Elections for cricket boards. Should this person be in? What does it mean if this person is in? So with all that said, what does it mean for us, people in general, in these so-called democratic societies, to actually have a say? Whether it is that you're voting for a political leader or you're voting for someone who's going to lead you in your business, the head of your board. And I'm listing these things for a reason, because I don't think that people really think about how much voting goes on in their country on a daily basis, really and truly. No, you can't vote for who's your parent or who's running your household most of the time, but to think about leadership in general is very important. Now, I'm going to be slightly the academic today, a slightly commentator, voice, yeah, throat, you know how it is. No, people say, and if you hear my phone, by the way, if you hear my phone during the things, because I have to have it on, ready for an urgent message, or if you hear a knocker or something like that, these things today cannot be avoided. Good. Now, sometimes when I speak into the mic like this. Now, if we were to ponder upon what it is that we live in, this thing called democracy, we normally hear for the people or of the people, by the people, for the people. We hear separation of powers in liberal democracy, legislature with some sort of upper house or lower house, or if it's a unicameral parliament, which means one house, maybe just a house of assembly most of the time. You hear judiciary interprets the law, legislature makes the law, administration, which may or may not be part of the lower house and part of the upper house as well sometimes, enforces the law or implements the law. But what does that really mean? It means that somehow law is a primary component of society. And why would it be a primary component of society? Because you have certain rights and freedoms which somehow in the past, at some point in time, and throughout the ages, even today, you have agreed upon and you're still agreeing upon, right? And you're saying, I have these rights insofar as they do not impact upon another person. So that means that you have limited rights and freedoms. The extent to which these rights are limited or extended, and these freedoms are limited and extended, is debatable. That's why we have parliaments and that's why we have elections, because there are going to be some people who want more rights. There are going to be some people who want the rights retracted. So some people who want the rights just limited. There are going to be people who want certain parts of rights to be curtailed or to be annulled or to be extended even further. No. What does that mean? It means that society's politics very tumultuous, very at times very unstable, sometimes very stable. That's why we see revolutions of certain sorts. We have bloody revolutions and we have some political revolutions, more like coups. We have all sorts of things going on in society. We also have a corporatist revolution, sort of, where we have the business class taking over society. Because at times the people, it appears, sometimes the people are not really watching what's going on and they tend to be, sleeping. And when they're sleeping, what do you expect to happen, huh? If you sleep at the wheel, the bus goes off the road. If you sleep at the wheel, the ship may hit an iceberg. If you sleep at the wheel, you may crash and die. If you sleep at the wheel, you may crash economically, politically, whatever, environmentally. You may crash, survive, and have to live in a dystopian environment that you really don't like. You might have to live in an environment that is really, 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 really far off from what you really wanted, all because you slept at the wheel. We shouldn't be sleeping at the wheel. So what does it mean for us? It means that when we are electing officials of any kind, we have to ask them questions. And we have, as individuals, not to be afraid of the collective, and as a collective, at times, not to be afraid of the individual. That means that when you go to a town hall meeting, sometimes it's going to get really, really rough. People are going to ask you questions such as, why are you standing up for this? Why do you want these rights? Why not those rights? Why don't you just sit down and shut up? And you know what? When people say that to you, what you got to say? I'm not sitting down and I'm not shutting up because I find this to be important. I find it to be important, and you know what? Someday it may save you. So today I'm going to ask about the whales. Why are these whales not protected? Tomorrow I'm going to ask about why is it that we are not parceling out our garbage? Why are we not doing these things? You know why? Because you may not care about it today, but I care about it today. And tomorrow you're going to care about it too. Because that's what I believe. And sometimes you're wrong. But you know what? When you enter the fray and enter the debate, you make the whole society better. When you stay away from it, you know what happens? Well, the society isn't better. It's just that simple. It is better to have spoken than to have not spoken at all. And then at the end of the day, you end up the worse for it because you didn't have your say. You do not only have your say with the vote, you have your say also before the vote. You have your say after the vote. You have your say when you go to the street market and you buy food, or you go to the supermarket and you buy food and you say, hey, this service is not good enough, or I love this service. Thank you so much for giving me this service. I want more of this service. Yes. Those are the things that you say. You go to a restaurant, the person treats you well, you give that person back something in kind. The person does not treat you well, you don't have to give that person back something in kind. You never have to give anybody back anything in kind, but it would be better if you did. You know why? Because when you pay it forward, when you put it out there, you put those vibes out there, somehow things get better. Back on to politics, which that is part of politics. I want people to understand something, right? Politics is not that realpolitik thing only, that you see out there where this politician says that and that politician says that. No. Politics is about decision making. It is about understanding the fineries of life. It's also about understanding where you fit in your life. Politics is all about whatever you do every single day of your life from the first time you breathe. Politics brought you into this world, and politics will take you out, because politics afforded you the healthcare to be born properly. It afforded you the healthcare not to be subjected to things such as sudden death syndrome at an adverse rate in society. It afforded you the opportunity, or it affords others the opportunity as well, or gives others the opportunity that they really don't want to die at birth in other states, because politics maketh man. Politics is that thing, when not understood by the common people, can destroy them. When you do not engage in the political fray, because, oh, I don't talk about politics. This is how people say they don't talk about religion and all that stuff. If you say, oh, well, I don't talk about politics, I don't discuss those things, you know what's going to happen? The day that the smog comes over your house, because guess what? You didn't engage in the politics because there's so much pollution. They're incinerating things that shouldn't be incinerated up in the air in your country when the topography of your country and the environment of your country just don't fit that method of incineration, that method of disposal. You know what's going to happen? You are going to die. Somehow, miraculously, most of the time, those people who made the decisions are going to live. Or they're not going to really be affected. I said die, but you might not die. You might just have to live with cancer. And you know what? That's your vote. Cancer ends up being the repercussion of your vote. Now, one may argue, I am being extreme. But you know what? We have to ask ourselves, are we really being extreme? Or am I just being practical, really and truly? And some people who say they're the most practical people in the world are really being impractical. Now, let me give you another example. Okay? For a long time in the United States of America, there has been a rhetoric going on, a subversive rhetoric from the Southern strategy, which brought racists from the Democratic Party at some point, long ago, not that long ago, but long enough, over to the Republican Party so they could have a fighting chance. You have to realize there has been a demographic shift. At one point in time, of course, America on a whole actually was much more liberal. Even though it was a conservative society, still, it was much more liberal in policies. And the Republicans were seen as kind of like the Democrats today, and now it's the other way around. Now the Conservative Party, for the most part, the Republican Party. But fiscally, being fiscally conservative is not the same thing as being socially conservative. You see? And so a conservative party is not really a conservative party. Unless you're talking about maybe cultural conservatism. Because you can be socially conservative and you can be economically libertarian. You can be socially libertarian or an anarchist, and you can be culturally conservative. When you're speaking about these things, I don't really like to use the word nuance, but these are nuanced issues, which means that, you know, I was going to say that, which means that you have to be very discerning, but as I'm saying that, I'm asking myself, how many people in society really and truly are going to take the time to ponder on these things? Now, I am an academic, so I take my time and I ponder. But once again, politics has shrouded our lives in such a way that we cannot, somehow the average man, middle class or not, and a lower class or not, some even in the higher classes, they cannot or are incapable of, because of the material circumstance, by the way, they're incapable of pondering their lives. They're incapable of taking the pauses that I do take to ponder their lives. Because you know what? They have to work a 9 to 11 job, or a 7 to 11, 7 to 12 job, all sorts of jobs, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs, and take care of the children and all these things. And at the end of the day, they're so tired, they can't even sit down and have a conversation about politics. Some people can't even have a conversation about the children. They can't even have a conversation with their children, can't help them with their homework, anything like that. These are all the things that politics affects. Yet, some people in society still say, oh, but I don't talk about politics. That's a problem. You don't talk about the politics. You do not engage in the system. You need to engage in the system for it to change. If you want it to change, and if you want to maintain it, you need to keep in the system as well. You need to engage with it, because whether or not you are a progressive or conservative or whatever it is you want to call yourself, libertarian, anarchist, Marxist, socialist, democratic socialist, social democrat, whatever you want to call yourself, Fabian socialist, whatever it is that you want to call yourself, okay? If it is, or whatever it is you don't want to call yourself, if you're just the average Joe, it is imperative, even if you don't care about politics, or you care about it a lot, that you engage in the system, because there are people who love politics who don't engage because they're sick of it, sick of everything that goes on. And there are people who don't care about politics who don't engage. And you know what? When you do not engage, you make it worse. Now, the argument is that by not engaging, you have had your say. Yes, you've had your say, but it's a tacit say. It's a silent say. It's a say that says, go ahead, whatever. If I don't say anything, if I don't speak up, obviously, and I don't think people think about this, obviously, you are going to get to say whatever you want to say. You're going to get your way, and your way may be detrimental to me or it may help, and I'll just ride. But sometimes the ride isn't the most smooth. Sometimes things can't be corrected. Sometimes economic crises cannot be corrected. So it means that we need to engage in the system. It's a right, which means as a right, you don't have to use it. It's not mandatory. But as we've seen with the Great Depression, the Great Recession, many different wars, when you sin by silence, not only do you make cowards out of men, but you destroy your souls, you destroy your societies, and you destroy yourselves. You destroy the futures of all you love. And even if you don't love a soul, you don't love anyone, you make yourself absolutely worse for it. That's all I have to say for today. Yep, you can find me on Instagram at WorldCoach. You can like me on YouTube or find me realtalk.bb. You can search for realtalk.bb on Facebook. And yeah, see you. Oh yeah, and obviously, subscribe. Find us on Facebook, like the page, comment below, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. This is a part of politics too. Until next time, bye bye.